Dear students, welcome back to your education channel Learn and Educate, where we were studying a few basics about the company law. Continuing that, Section 2, Clause 60, Officer in default. Officer in default, who is in default for the purpose of any provisions of this Act, that is Companies Act 2013, which enacts that an officer of the company who is in default shall be liable to any penalty or a punishment by a way of imprisonment, fine, or otherwise, means any of the following officers of the company, namely whole-time director, key managerial personnel. Default means not to do an act when it should have been done as per law, to commit a course of action when it is not permitted. Thus any officer who has not done an act which should have been done as per the law, or an officer who has taken up a course of action which is not permitted. Thus the whole time director, the key managerial personnel where there is no KMP, such director or directors as specified by the board in this behalf, and who has or have been given their consent in writing to the board to such specifications, or all directors if no such a director is specified. Fourth, an officer in default is any person who, under the immediate authority of the board or any key managerial personnel, is charged with any responsibility including maintenance, filing, or distribution of accounts or records, actively participates, knowingly permits, and knowingly fails, knowingly does not take any active step to prevent any such default. Any person in accordance with whose advice the directors any person in accordance with whose advice, directions, and instructions of the board of directors of the company is accustomed to act other than a person who gives advice to the board in the professional capacity. This includes a person who is a professional and gives advice to the board of directors in a professional capacity. 6. Any director in respect of a contravention of any of the provisions of this Act who is aware of the contravention by virtue of the receipt by him of in the proceedings of the court, or a participation in such proceedings without objection to the same, participation in the proceeding without the objection to the same, and where such contravention had taken place with his consent or connivance, when such contravention has taken place with his consent and permission. 7th, in respect of the issue or transfer of shares of a company, the share transfer agent, registrars, and merchant bankers to the issue or the transfer